Hi, everyone.
Hey,
It's Julie,
and it's JT.
and welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast. This week we have on Lindsay, the owner of Laguna Bohemia, a permanent jewelry and beaded bracelet brand based in New Jersey.
Yeah, this was a real fun one, especially since you guys are in the same industry. It was really interesting hearing your conversation.
Yeah, she is amazing. She has beautiful work, so you should definitely check her out. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to the episode. She gave her whole background and story of how she started her brand and how she transitioned from working a 9 to 5 commuting into the city to now fully working for herself, owning a jewelry company.
Yeah, that was a really awesome story.
It was. She's great, and we had a lot of fun filming. We even did some rapid fire questions at the end that were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would mean a lot to us if you're listening on Spotify to leave us a review and follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube. You can subscribe and watch the podcast from there.
There.
Yes. We are at Bellworks right now. Hopefully you guys can't hear the pool that's behind us and all the people.
All the people.
We're on your home court today.
We are. This is our stomping grounds every Wednesday.
Normally the market's on the other side though, right?
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes it is on this side, just when there's like other events going on.
Okay.
But yeah, we're here every Wednesday and
Nice.
sometimes Saturdays, once a month.
Cool.
I came on a Saturday one time and it was like everything was set up in the middle. There were so many vendors.
Yeah.
And they had like a live musician. It was so cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
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 They make it nice.
Yeah,
they make
they
it a
do.
vibe.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah. It's great that they use the space for that because it would be a shame if they didn't do anything with it, but they really do a lot of stuff here, which is
Totally.
great. It's such a beautiful space.
It really
so
is.
That's awesome that they
glad
like
that-
support the small businesses and
Totally.
It's great.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys agreed to come meet me
Yeah.
here because I thought it would be cool. So thank
yes.
you.
Yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Name, where you're from, what do you do?
Sure. I'm Lindsay Laguna, and I am the founder of Laguna Bohemia. I don't even know where to start. I guess I graduated 9 years ago
Wow.
Okay.
from college, and when I graduated, I literally never thought that in a million years that I would be doing jewelry or like even getting into that creative side of my brain. Like I
Yeah.
went to college for psychology and criminology.
Wow.
And I ended up working in that field for maybe like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the pay wasn't that great.
Mhm.
So I still had this like creative like spark in me.
Mhm.
So I wanted to become a makeup artist.
Okay.
I was always
Wow.
doing it. Like I was always like into my own makeup.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I kind of want to see like what I can do with this.
Mhm.
So I ended up taking a class in the city
Mhm.
and it went really well. And
Mm-hmm.
I like everything that I learned there, like I was like, I can do this professionally. So I ended up applying for a job at Nordstrom in Short Hills
Cool.
at the mall.
Mhm.
And I was in makeup for maybe like 6 years.
Mhm.
Wow.
Working in the city, I ended during COVID.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I was.
Mm-hmm.
In 59th Street at Bloomingdales.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I was doing makeup, and then, you know, with COVID, everything shut down,
Mhm.
and a department store is like the first thing to shut down, especially
Yeah.
Oh my
makeup.
gosh, definitely. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use this opportunity to just figure out what I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of where I was able to
Yeah.
use the time and the space and like just the mental space to kind of like plan for my future.
Yeah.
And jewelry was always a part of it for me.
Mhm.
I was always making it.
Yeah.
So we'll get into like kind of like
Yeah.
how it started, but that's kind of a little bit about me.
Wow.
That's
So
really
what
cool.
made you like after graduating college and then starting to work, were you just not happy at all with like the field that you were in and you just did a 180 with the makeup or
Like I think what happened was I realized that in order for me to make a decent living in the psychology field, I would have to go back to school and get my master's. And that was something that I wasn't interested in just because I'm not really a student.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? There's got to be another way for me to make money.
Yeah.
And for me to actually be happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I literally, it was like this internal kind of like, just scan of like, what do I actually want to do?
Mm-hmm.
What am I thinking about? And how can I turn this into a job, making money?
That's so
Interesting,
smart.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, I was on the beach in LBI, like on vacation. And I had a couple of makeup books and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to take this leap of faith. It was like a couple of $1,000s to do a class. And I was like, do I
Yeah.
even need a class? This was like at the time where like YouTubers and like people were just self-taught and they were just good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't have that talent. Like I need a little bit more of like an education on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so I kind of know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how it happened.
Wow.
And then
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I found Nordstrom, and I kind of like finagled my way in there, and then it was honestly great. I represented Bobbi Brown,
Cool.
Cool.
so my whole career in makeup was with Bobbi Brown. So I was able to also take their training and learn a lot about how, like their philosophy on makeup and how they want to make the woman feel, the everyday woman feel. So it wasn't like crazy makeup.
Yeah.
It was like natural.
Yeah.
And it just like aligned with me, and I was just good at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you always like very creative as a kid?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you had that side, and then as you got older, you know, you kind of have to like push that down a little bit sometimes,
A
like to
little
kind of
bit.
fit into the mold of.
A little bit. But I honestly feel like I wasn't that creative. Like looking
No?
at my childhood, my brother was actually way more creative. He
Really?
painted, he did all of that stuff, and he was so good at it. Like he was
Wow.
an artist.
Uh-huh.
For me, I wasn't. And
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a student. I wasn't an
Yeah.
artist. Like I kind of just was like trying to figure out where
Yeah.
I was going to fit in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is like kind of crazy as a kid.
Yeah.
To kind of be like, what's going on? Like, but it is what it is. And now
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
I think one thing we find really interesting with people who are entrepreneurs is like some people as kids, they have like an entrepreneurial strike and some don't, and some kind of like find it later in life.
Totally.
Like how would you describe yourself? Would you say that was more something that you were interested in as a kid, or did you just come upon it as you grew up into adulthood?
Interesting. I feel like, it's funny that we were talking about this because I actually came across a reel one day recently, and it just stuck with me. And I think I shared it to my story. And basically, it was this guy talking about how C students, they are the entrepreneurs because they're the ones that are not their heads in the books, their heads outside the window, looking outside, dreaming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that really is true. Because like, I was not a good student. I was always wanting to do something else. So I was always moving. And making jewelry was like my go-to, like as a child. Like I did it with my grandparents, like beading. I brought my bead kits on vacation. Like me and my best friend would go on vacation and we would go to the store where you can make your own bracelets and necklaces. And that was like my thing.
Yeah.
So that was always a part of me as a kid. And I didn't realize that, you can monetize that skill or that fun kind of beading
Yeah.
thing into actual money and actual products that people care about.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
What
Yeah.
was the moment that do you like remember the moment that you were like, I think I want to start a jewelry company? Or did it happen gradually? Was it like a side hustle at first that turned into something more? Or was it like very planned and thought out?
Interesting. I feel like it definitely was not planned. Like
Okay.
what actually happened was it was like 2018 and I bought a bracelet for like $43 and it was the gold ball bracelet. And this was like right before they started to become a super big. And I bought one and it like tarnished in like 3 days because I like accidentally wore it in the shower. And I was like, this is some, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
I was like, this is some bullshit. Like I just spent $43
Oh my
on this
gosh, yeah.
bracelet. Like I have to figure out a way to make it cheaper because I wanted a stack. And I wasn't going to keep spending $43 and then have them tarnish. So after that, I like went home and I was like, this was like while I was still a makeup artist. I was at Bloomingdales at the time in Short Hills. And I was living with an ex-boyfriend in Summit at the time. And I remember just going home after that and being like, I got to figure out a way to do this. Like, I already know how to bead. Like, I love to bead. Let me figure it out. So I ended up like sourcing. I ended up spending like I don't know how much it was, but my own money. And kind of just testing it out. My first couple times I failed and I didn't buy the right things, and I tried things that weren't great. And, you know, it took time to figure out the right materials.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was I made the bracelet and then I started wearing them. And then I was going to yoga. My friends would be like, oh, where'd you get that bracelet? Can you make me one? And then it kind of just happened. Like literally me and my mom, because my mom is my business partner.
Oh, nice.
We literally looked at each other and we were like, this could potentially be something. And like, we didn't know that it could. So I think that was like the moment for us where we were like, shit, like people actually want this. Yeah. Like my friends at yoga want this. We were giving away as gifts. So
that's amazing.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And I think one like really good takeaway for a lot of people that are looking to start a business is like a great place to start is by solving your own problems. I think sometimes people like they try to figure out what's a good business, what's hot right now, but if you can solve your own problems, you can really understand it, and you can also like you can resonate with people and kind of have your own spin on things. So that's really cool that you were able to like figure that out yourself, and you know, like lo and behold, other people had that same story. They wanted something that you had, and yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And the fact also that you noticed that there was a lack of quality or there was a gap in the market where maybe like a lot of jewelry wasn't, it was either like you had shit jewelry that would tarnish or solid gold. And there was like kind of nothing in between. And filling that market was just so smart because you're giving people a quality product at a better price point. And from there, you can just grow indefinitely. You can do whatever you want with that. So
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you grown from, like, what did the business look like from those first few bracelets to now? Because your page is beautiful, your products are beautiful.
Thank you.
Did that kind of take some growth, or did you kind of always have that aesthetic from the start?
Totally. So I feel like in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little bit crazy. You have to be a little crazy, like just enough to like be willing to like risk it all. Like, and be willing to fail in front of people. And I feel like we have that. Like the three of us, we all have that. Because look at us. Like, I mean, this is my first podcast and I'm sitting here like talking to you like
in the middle of Bellworks.
Yeah, in the middle of Bellworks. Like, it's just crazy. So I think like with that quality. Wait, I forget the question. What was the question?
Like, how did you transform your brand from like where it started to now?
Okay. Yeah. I think with that quality, like you have to be willing to grow in front of people. And by grow, I mean sometimes fail. So I think in the beginning, yes, like I was using materials that I'm no longer using because over time I've found out that they're just not good. But I think what really matters is that you're open with your customers and you're just yourself and you're authentic to who you are, and they're not going to hold it against you. If anything, they're going to give you another chance.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's
great. Yeah.
So yes, I have grown a lot, and like my products in the beginning, like I still have them like as a memory, but like I'm like, these are tragic. Like these are a tragedy because now I'm like looking at the quality of my pieces and I'm just like,
they're stunning.
Yeah.
They're like, beautiful.
And I'm proud of them.
And they're all handmade, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. As far as like challenges, you kind of mentioned that like you have to be willing to grow and fail in front of your customer base and just in general.
Totally.
What was like a big hurdle, like one of the biggest hurdles or decisions that you had to make like in the length of your brand and your career in jewelry?
I think, oh my gosh, I mean, there's so many. Like every day there's a hurdle, whether it's big or small, like in reality. But I think in the beginning, you know, just finding the right people to support you and like be on your side and like be on your team. I think that's really important. Having that support will get you through any challenge.
Yeah.
And just staying true to who you are and what you want your product to be.
Yeah.
But I think there's like little ones that like you just have to like kind of get past. That comes with time, and you don't realize that it's a challenge at the time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. There's so many like little things
Totally.
every day, and your list, I'm sure like you have an ongoing list of like all these little things that you have to do.
Totally.
Yeah, it's funny, like when you work a job, like you kind of like know what you're doing every day, and then when you're an entrepreneur, you're really deciding what you're doing every day, so it's like you kind of are always having all these little things to overcome, and you
Totally.
have to decide like what problems to tackle first. And
Totally.
yeah.
I think the hardest thing that we experienced was just finding the right people to come with us.
That can make or break
Totally.
a business.
And
it seriously
we-
can.
Yeah, it really, really can. And, we've tried a couple people that just like, it didn't really work out. And, but that's how you figure it out. Like, that's how you figure out what you want in somebody that's going to represent your brand.
Yeah.
So we were able to find like there's like a solid, maybe like 3 people that I would trust like my whole business with. So I think finding the people is the challenge.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's so worth it.
It
Because
really is.
You can get through any challenge at that point, having
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your team a little bit, like around what you're doing as far as like people supporting you and everything? Like, how did you find those people? And
Yeah. So I think at the beginning, when I first started the business, I felt like I needed someone to come with me on this journey. Like skin in the game, like with me. And it's really hard to find that person. Luckily, mine was right in my own house, and it's my mom, and it's someone that I trust with everything. And she's smart. My parents are both entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So
Wow.
they on their own.
Yeah.
So it's like they supported me from the beginning, and having my mom and my dad, like just their support has been awesome. But then past that, we found a woman named Bridget, and we actually met her at a market. She was a customer,
Wow.
and she just came up to the table and bought an anklet, I think, and we just connected. And then I like posted something on Instagram that like we needed someone to help us like with the markets and stuff. So she DM'd me, and I'm like, Mom, like, let's just give her a chance. Like, let's give her a chance. Well, the whole first week of us like interviewing her, like we actually interviewed here and like gave her a welcome packet. I'm like, welcome, Brooke. Like this whole time I'm calling her Brooke.
Oh my
Literally, her name
gosh.
is not Brooke. It's Bridget. So now when she like messes up, we'll be like, oh, that's Brooke. Like that's just Brooke. But she's amazing. She lives locally. She also volunteers at Catsbury. So she's just like in everything. Like she's
That's
awesome.
so great.
Very
And I
cool.
trust her, and she sells the product like it's her own, and I can't ask for anything more.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's exactly how I met I hate calling her my employee. I always call her
I
my
know.
coworker because
Totally.
I'm just like, she's not my employee.
I
It's
know.
just silly to say that. But that's exactly how I met my coworker, Lauren. She was a customer, a repeat customer. And then she was looking for a job. I was looking for someone. And then now, like,
Totally.
it's amazing. And like you said, like she sells the product like it's her own. And that's what you want. You want someone that's trustworthy. You want someone that's good with people. And you want someone that's your brand is like your baby. I say that
Totally.
all the time.
It's so true.
To trust someone that they're going to carry on that same customer service, quality care, like with
Totally.
attention to people is so hard to find. But like you said, as soon as you find that person, it's so worth it.
It's so worth it.
It really is.
Yeah.
Is
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were customers first, like I think
I
that's
know.
so cool because then they actually enjoy the product
Yeah.
and they actually like, okay, they use it.
Yeah.
You know, I hate when like people like you get a DM and they're like, oh, like let's do this together. I'm like, you don't even follow me. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
you know,
Definitely.
like you don't even like.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
It's so true.
So
Yeah. What was the first place that you started selling your jewelry? Was it a market? how did you decide to go about how you were going to get this out there? Was it mostly social media? Was it a mix of both?
Yeah, so I feel like it changed throughout the duration of the past 3 years that we've been doing this. So what happened was after COVID, I guess during COVID and kind of post COVID, like when everybody was starting to get back to work, my Bobby Brown boss at the time had called me and she was like, "Do you want to come back?" And I was like, "Do I really want to commute into the city? Do I also want to, keep working for someone else?" Like, I hated clocking in. Like, I hated having to make goals for the counter when I have my own goals that I need to make. Like, so I was just like, oh, there's got to be another way. But the commute really killed me. So I was like, you know what? And like, I had a good path. Like, I had a really great mentor with Bobby Brown. And she was going to kind of like just take me and follow her in her footsteps. And she had a great path. So I had a really good corporate path because at the time I was working for Estee Lauder corporate.
Okay.
Not Bloomingdales because Estee Lauder owns Bobby Brown. So I had a good path. Like, I was getting good money and it was going to be good. And I just was like, you know what? No, I'm not going back. I got to figure this out.
That's hard to say no to that.
Totally.
That stability. And when it's carved out for you already.
Totally. I was like,
to walk away from that,
I know. I was
that
like,
means you really wanted what you're doing now.
Totally. And I was like, you know what? No. And like at the time during COVID, I was beading and I was perfecting my product for me.
Yeah.
Kind of like, so everything was kind of just like happening when it was supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And, then I said no, and I didn't go back. And then what happened was, it was like November, and my mom is really good friends with Lisa from our town, Scotch Plains, because my mom is in the Rotary Club.
Okay.
And Lisa runs the Scotch Plains farmers market, which is in my town.
Okay.
So Lisa was like, "Listen, like, I know you're just starting your little jewelry business with Lindsay. Like, do you guys want to come to the market?" And me and my mom looked at each other. We were like, holy shit, we don't even have a tent. We don't have stock. This was like 3 days away. We were like, how are we going to do this? But we literally were like, let's do it. So we like went, I don't even know what happened. We were panicking, like making bracelets, like getting everything we needed. I don't even think we had tables, tablecloths, anything to put the jewelry on. Like, it was just a shit show. But we did it. And I think we ended up selling like 30 bracelets that day, which was like big for us.
Yeah.
Like, our first day, like, I didn't even think people were going to like it, like in public, like in the fields. Like, I didn't think people were going to actually, like, my friends and family, but like to actually have people give me money for something that I made was crazy. It was a crazy experience. So that was the start of the market, and we literally never looked back. Not once.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
That's so incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The markets are great for building your brand and getting your name out there as well.
Totally.
They're amazing, and they really draw in a lot of people.
Totally.
Which is great. It's a great starting point. That's also where I started, was doing the markets and pop-up events and stuff like that.
It's a way to like just meet people and it's one sure way to get your product out and in front of people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And sometimes that first day of sales means more than the next month, because it's like you're saying, that proof of concept. Like, you're not sure if people are going to take to it. And when you see that they are, it like proves something to you inside. Like, this is worth doing, like doing more and like pursuing it. So
it just fuels the fire. You're just like, all right, let's go. Where's more market?
It does. Yeah. Like, and if you're willing to work, I always say, like, money is out there. You just have to go find it.
You have to go find it.
And of course, it's not all about the money. Like, you're building a beautiful like brand and business that's going to sustain you. And it's very validating. And it's just so nice, like having a business that you're prideful in.
Totally.
But yeah, I think if you want it, you just have to work hard and work long hours and keep evolving. And it takes a lot of time and energy. But if you want it bad enough, it will happen.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
And I feel like not a lot of people are cut out for it.
No.
Like, I wish more people like saw it in themselves, because it's in everyone, but it's just like, are you willing to?
Yeah. It's so true. It is not for everyone. There's a lot of people that start and maybe half-ass it. They only put some effort and then they fail at it. And then I don't know. Personally, I would always wonder, like, did I not do enough? Did I not work hard enough? Is that why it didn't work?
But I think that's the thing that separates entrepreneurs from people who aren't. It's that fear that holds them back. Whereas like us, like it's there. The fear is there, but we just do it anyway. Like that's the crazy thing. Like we're like, we could fail, like, but we don't care. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And people are gonna either like it or they're not. And 9 times out of 10, if you're yourself and you show a good product, then
Yeah, I think everyone has like a stopping point too. Like some people's stopping point is like they might do an hour of research and then convince themselves that it's not going to work.
Right.
And some people pretty much have no stopping point. There's a podcast that we listen to pretty often. It's a very successful podcast. And the guy is a serial entrepreneur. And he was saying that he had 4 failed businesses before, you know, he really ever like hit it the way he wanted to. And we just thought that was so interesting. Like that's kind of the stuff that you don't like hear about.
Totally.
But like for him to fail like 4 different times and keep going, like that's kind of the drive it takes. Like some people are really successful. They hit it big on the first try, but a lot of times it takes like a lot of failures along the way and being able to like persist through that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I just realized I did not get the neutral theme. You have like a neutral sweater, neutral.
Way to go, Julie.
And I
Way
had
to go.
a neutral sweater on, and I took it off, and I'm in bright blue. I look crazy.
No, you
Just
don't.
wanted to mention
We got
that.
the dark pants. Everyone's got dark pants.
We got
on.
dark pants.
Good thing they can't see that.
I know. I was like, what am I going to wear to this? I'm like, let me just be cozy, girl.
So where do you find your creativity? I feel like you have a very consistent theme with all of your products. And you mentioned that you did yoga and you went to yoga. Do you pull inspiration from anywhere? And how do you kind of get over creative like roadblocks when, you know, you're not necessarily feeling the most creative? Because it does happen day to day. You just might not feel it. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, I think the cool thing about artists is that we always, I feel like we tend to look at other artists for inspiration. And it's not in a way of like, I'm going to copy you. It's like in a way of like, interesting. Like I love that product. I want to make something similar.
Yeah.
But I want to make it my own. So I feel like, you know, some artists, other artists, other people that are trying to do the same thing. But honestly, like, I don't know. Like if I'm ever feeling like I'm looking at my projects that I'm working on and I'm like, what am I going to do? What designs? What color? I just step away and I'm like, you know what? Let me just go take a walk. And I usually walk to my car and I get in my car and I go to Home Goods. That is like my place where like I just find inspiration. Like, and it sounds so silly, but like in Home Goods, you can find anything. Like I can get inspiration from like a bowl or like all I have to do is just like look at a rock and like, I don't know. Like, it's just like so crazy. But like once I go to Home Goods, I come back, you know, I have other ways of relaxing too that, you know, we're at a kid's table here. So, but, I'm just like, you know, I feel better like after Home Goods, like, and it's not necessarily to shop. It's just to look. It's just to get ideas and see what's out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I do think that my product does stem a little bit from the yoga, like kind of vibe. But I don't really want to just say that we're for yogis only because I feel like,
definitely
you know,
not. No,
because I feel like everybody,
I feel like
anybody.
You love to pull in which I love, and I think it makes it so beautiful. All those different stones that all have different meanings. I love that.
Totally.
The angel numbers.
Totally.
All that kind of stuff, and the stones are beautiful, and I love that you incorporate that in with the gold beading and all of that.
Because
really
I feel like there's
beautiful.
a lot of gold beads out there right now. Like
there is,
and I just feel like I don't know. I felt like some of them are very cute, and then some of them are very like preppy.
Yeah,
like there's a certain brand that like comes to my mind that's just very preppy with the same kind of look as mine.
But I feel like if I see your bracelets versus all the other, I can pinpoint your work.
Yeah.
And I love that because anyone can make a gold beaded bracelet,
Totally.
but the fact that you have this signature look to yours, it really does stand out.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, especially. It really does.
It really is beautiful. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. It's like your inspiration can come from a million different places, but as long as you're true to you and like what matters to you, or even making things that you would personally like, I think that that's really what it comes down to. You know, I can get inspiration from this tree. Oh, I want to make something green. I don't know, like literally anything. Like, but it's just what, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know?
It takes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You'd really like this this book that we never finished reading.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but it's like the new Rick Rubin book.
Okay.
And he kind of talks about, it's like a book about creativity.
Yeah.
And he kind of talks about that, how like creativity can be drawn like from your perspective on things at that time.
Yes.
And what you're thinking about at that time. Like we can both look at this tree and we can both draw something like completely different from it.
Totally.
And that's like a really cool thing that you mentioned, like with home goods, like that's like your escape, but kind of like the lens that you're viewing things through is like the way that you can, you know, find your own creativity in like really anything.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would love to read that book. So whenever you remember the name of it, let me know.
Okay.
Yes. How have you found success through the use of social media? We're all on social media and it's a big part of all of our businesses.
Totally.
How have you found that it has grown your business or helped your business?
Honestly, that's a hard question for me because I think that is like one thing that is holding me back a little bit. I think I could leverage it more.
Okay.
I think if this was an interview and you were to ask me what are my weaknesses, I would say that.
Okay.
But I think that there's always room for improvement in every aspect. But I feel like, I don't know, social media is hard. I'm big on like I don't want to over flood someone's feed. So I'm not going to post every single day. That's not the kind of poster I am.
Yeah.
I'd rather just post once or twice and kind of just like make an impact in that way. But I think I need to be utilizing Reels more. Like I think there's so many things that are out there that I just don't even kind of know because I'm not tech savvy, I guess you could say. Like this is my first time talking into a microphone.
Yeah. Where do most of your customers find you? Do you find that a lot of them come through social media, or is it mostly the markets and word of mouth? And
honestly, it's definitely the markets and word of mouth, more so than social media.
Yeah.
For me.
Okay.
But I know that social media has been great for 1,000 million other people. I want it to be me, and I think that that's something that I'm going to be working on this year, like going forward. But yeah, I would say just coming to markets really helps because the great thing about it is no 2 weeks are the same. So I could be at Bellworks every Wednesday, but there's new people every time. And then obviously there's our, tried and true customers that we see every week.
Yeah.
That just keep showing up and that buy a bracelet every week or get a weld every week. Like one woman has 5 figure bracelets. I'm like, why do you need 5? And she's like, I need more. And I'm like, okay. But like, you just like, I don't know. I think having people see your products, I think that in person is really helpful because you can look at them in the eye and you can say, yes, follow us on Instagram. We have this going on. And then they want to because they see a person and they are connecting with you. And they do it 9 times out of 10. They do it right then and there.
Right.
Yep.
And that's honestly how we've built our following. It's just by asking people to follow us at markets and they always do.
Yeah.
And like I've posted a few reels, but like we've never had a reel like go viral. We've never had a reel like kind of just, be seen by a lot of people. I've never done any of that.
That's amazing that you've still have made such a big impact even though you don't feel like your social media is where you want it to
Right.
be, you have a beautiful page, by the way, and your products, you don't
Thank
really
you.
even need to do much because your products like speak for
Totally.
themselves. They really do.
Thank you.
And I totally agree. I think that one-on-one connection you have with your customers every single week makes just as much of an impact as it does online, sometimes even more.
Totally.
And that's amazing that you've fostered that kind of connection with your following and your customers, and that they want to keep coming back for more, because that's how you build a sustainable brand. I think a lot of people want that fast cash and that fast interaction. Oh, order online, you know, whatever.
Totally.
But you're really creating a community, and that's valuable and will carry you for years, you know, than just having a lot of followers or getting a lot of views.
Totally.
So
Totally.
that's incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. What do you got to say,
Yeah.
JT?
We're both looking at you.
Oh, God.
I guess what would be like your biggest like highlight so far of running your business? Would it be like kind of like something in the beginning when you started, or was there a particular time when you felt, you know, was your biggest accomplishment?
You know, in the beginning, like when I first started, this was like 2019, 2020. I think at that point, our biggest accomplishment was hitting 1,000 followers, because not knowing anyone, nearly half the people that we know now, the fact that we like got that many when we were so small and so new was an accomplishment. But I think now that after like years have passed, obviously, I think our biggest accomplishment, which I kind of like to say that I don't like quantity. Like I don't like that. But if we're going to talk about accomplishments, I think one that sticks out to me looking back on this past year, because it is, you know, January and everybody was doing their end of year recaps and stuff like that. I think for us, one of our big accomplishments was in our first year of welding, I think we welded 1,000 people.
Wow.
In under a year, which was big for us, because
That's huge.
coming from someone who didn't really know what a welder was.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know, like, and there was, at the time, there was only like 1 or 2 welders in New Jersey, and you were the first one, actually.
I think
You were.
it's not confirmed, but I don't like to say that just in case, but I think
I remember in depth looking for people that were doing it in my process of like figuring it out.
Yeah,
and you were the
same.
first one that I found, and I was like, okay, like I see someone doing it.
yeah.
But I think the cool thing about that is like we're different.
Yeah.
Like even though we're doing the same thing, which I think should be talked about here, I think we're different. And
Yeah. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And even the few other people that do it, everyone has such a different vibe.
Totally.
And that's why I think everyone, and I always want to support women and other businesses. And I don't think anyone should ever be enemies, especially women in this space, in a creative space. And that's why I'm so pro supporting all small businesses, especially ones that are ran by women, and even ones that are the same or similar to mine, because you just have to build each other up. And
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much respect for you, or kind of anyone in this space who is building their business from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know, doing it the right way and like authentically. And I
So
respect
true.
that, especially women that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. I think that's amazing. And it just inspires me more. Like,
Definitely.
because it's like, okay, that you don't realize how much we're alike because we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we might be so different, but like we have something so huge in common. So I think that that's really
And
cool.
all like entrepreneurs and business owners go through the similar or same struggles.
Yeah.
So I think we all have something to learn from each
Totally.
other.
Totally.
And we can help each other grow. And that's what I love about this community. Everyone's so supportive and hardworking.
Yeah.
And we all have similar mindsets, especially like as long as everyone's doing honest work. And I think there's definitely the few oddballs out there that you're like, I don't know if I want to be associated with them.
Totally.
But for sure, I that's what I love about this. And also being a business owner can sometimes, I know you can relate to this, is a little bit lonely because most of the work is done by you.
Yep.
You're not in a office where you have coworkers and all the
Totally.
time. So to have a community where you feel supported is great.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I love the market so much. I mean, I've met some friends at the markets that they're just great, and we've been support systems to each other throughout the process of building our own businesses, which is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that you are looking forward to this year, or you have that you're excited about for your business, or goals for your business in the upcoming year? As far as maybe a new collection, or something that you want to promote or talk about?
Yeah, I mean, there's always something new that we're working on. Always new stones that we're finding. Like, sourcing is one of my favorite things to do. Like, I would have gone to Arizona if I could to go to the gem show just to look at all the beads. Like, that's like, I love it. Like, I'm even going to Florida at the end of the month, and I'm like, we have to source, like, while we're there. Like, we can go have fun, Mom, but, like, we're sourcing. Like, we're working. Like, so I think, I don't know, there's always something new. And, like, some days, like, I don't feel like making the same thing, or I don't feel like closing a bunch of bracelets that are all the same. Like, sometimes I'm like, I want to make something, like, one of a kind. So I think the best thing to do is just, like, keep coming to the markets and, you know, for our customers, and because you never know what you're going to find. And there is something that we do have up our sleeve that we're going to be launching in February. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's really it. I mean, we're always growing. We're always trying, but social media, I think I don't want to forget about that. That's something that I really do want to work on. And even just like putting myself out there, like on reels and stuff. Yeah. That's kind of why I was excited to do this. Cause I'm like, even if I don't know what's going to happen, but like, at least I'm getting comfortable with like being in front of a camera and like talking about my business.
I'm sure people want to hear from you and see, you know, a person behind the brand. So it's so important. We talk about that all the time is, just brand identity and being authentic. And I think more people want to see that side of a business rather than just like the aesthetic reels or the aesthetic product shots.
Totally.
They want to see those moments where like maybe it's not a high for you or, you know.
And I would have to say that you're pretty good at that because you'll post like, build a stack with me or like little things like that where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
You kind of inspire me in that way to be like, okay, maybe I need to put myself out there because people do care and they do want to see who you are.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
that's great. I don't think we talked about it. How did you get your name, Laguna Bohemia? Laguna Bohemia. Yeah.
So my last name is Laguna.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
that's
a
really cool last name.
Thank you.
I like
that's
that
why I was
name.
like, it has to be in the name.
Yeah.
Like Laguna has to be in the name of the business because it's so cool.
It's so cool.
People are like, "Oh, are you from Laguna?" I'm like, "No, that's literally just my last name. Like I was just born with that name. Like I have no idea." So obviously it had to be Laguna, and then I was looking for words that kind of like flowed like onto it that meant something. And I came across the word. Oh my gosh, a little kid on a scooter. I came across this word, Bohemia. And I was like figuring out, I was like, is this a place? Like, because I know there's a place. Like, I'm like, what is this? Does it mean Bohemian? Like, what is this word? So I found the definition, and it's basically a group of people, and they are socially unconventional, and they're artistic people.
Wow.
And it's the area in which they go, where they frequent. And Bohemia is viewed as a collective whole. So I loved that. And I was like, the markets are a Bohemia because it's where all the artists go to hang out. Yeah. And I'm like, this is our Bohemia. Like these bracelets are our Bohemia.
I love that.
That's so cool.
I'm like, that's just kind of how
so
it came.
Fitting. Yeah. I love the name. It really does flow so well.
It does, right?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So that's
so
how it
cool.
happens.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story.
Honestly, one of my favorite things that happened in 2023 was when you came to the market, Julie, and you I was like, oh my God, why is she here? Like, I was kind of nervous. Like,
I was wondering if you were going to recognize me or not.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. And I was like, oh my God, why is she here? And I was with Bridget at the time. And I'm like, Bridget, I think that's another welder. And you were so nice. Like, I was like all nervous. And I'll never, ever forget. You ended up like getting a bracelet and then you got a weld, which I thought was so sweet.
I still have it on.
Oh, I love that.
It's in my stack.
I know. I need to come. I want to come to your shop and get a weld. But I remember like you welded me, and then I was like, Julie, you're welding me. I hope you realize, because like literally no one on my team welds. They can't see. Everybody on my team is 50 and up. Okay, so they literally can't see. I asked them to weld. They cannot weld. So I'm like, I don't trust anybody to touch my welder. But I'm like, Julie can freaking do it. She operates this machine on the daily. Like, I'm like, Julie, weld this bracelet. And I'm never going to take it off. Like, I was at my best friend's wedding and I cut off all my welds. And I'm like, this one's staying. Julie welded it. Like, I'm never taking this off.
Aw, that was a lot of fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah,
And
I was glad I got to see everything in action. And it's just so nice to support. And
I agree.
So we want to do some rapid fire questions with you. We did this the last episode with our guests, and I feel like it was a lot of fun. We didn't send them to you because we wanted to kind of catch you off guard.
Okay.
But let's see. So you have to answer quick.
Okay.
And just whatever comes to your mind, you can answer. Okay.
Perfect.
So, favorite beach at the Jersey Shore?
Oh, easy. Barnegat Light, Long Beach Islands.
Nice. Cats or dogs?
Oh, we just talked about this before. Cats.
If you could wear only one piece of jewelry every day, what would it be?
Oh my God, why are you doing this to me? Bracelet.
Nice. What's your favorite stone?
Ooh, my favorite stone. Right now, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning into the rose quartz a little bit because we were talking about that before. Yeah. Gotta find love, you know?
I love it. What's your favorite market to sell at?
Oh God, the market people are gonna come after me. Honestly, all of them. Any market I can get to is a great market for me.
Great answer.
Thank you.
What item is your best seller?
Ooh, probably the one that you bought that day that when you came to the market, the Aventurine Intention.
I love that one.
Yep.
Gold or silver?
I gotta go gold. Right off the bat.
Okay. If your brand had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh. That's so funny because I literally have a hype playlist that I play, and I played it on the way here because I'm like, I gotta get hyped. Like, I'm gonna be on this podcast. Like, I would say the theme song, it would be, there's a couple. I would say either Daisies by Katy Perry. I don't know if you know it.
I feel like I do.
I feel honestly terrible not picking a Taylor Swift song for this because I'm a Swiftie, like through and through.
We're Swifties too.
Yeah, like that's it. I would say Daisies by Katy Perry or what's that song? Hey Look Ma, I Made It by Panic at the Disco.
Nice.
Those hype me up.
Cool. All right, this is a tough one.
Okay.
Beaded or chains?
Ooh. I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna say chains right now.
Okay, cool. What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal? Does that mean like what your spirit is as an animal?
Like if you could be like an animal, like which one would you be?
Okay. I feel like I would be. My dad would tell me that like I'm a bull because I wreak havoc on whatever I do. I'm telling you, like, if this wasn't a professional setting right now, these microphones would be on the ground. Like, I'm just like, he calls me a bull in a china shop because I break everything. Like, everything. I'll drop something. He'll be like, oh, there she goes. Like, him, like, but I don't feel like a bull. I just feel like a little kitten. Like, that's, like, I'm just a kitten. I need to be, you know.
You just want to cuddle.
Yeah, I just want to cuddle. I need to be fed. I need naps.
All right, last one. Describe your brand in 3 words.
Ooh. My brand in 3 words. Authentic. I want to say like quality, but that's not really a word. Like that's not a descriptive word.
It is, yeah. That's okay.
Authentic, quality, and fun. Like, we're just fun. Like,
Love
it's
it.
just fun.
Nice.
That's great. Awesome.
Yay.
Cool.
This was so fun.
It was.
Yeah, thanks for coming on today. Where can everyone find you?
Yes.
Well, starting in February, you can find me here on Wednesdays from 11 to 4 at
Nice.
Bellworks at the market. And on Instagram also at Laguna Bohemia. And that's where I'll post my schedule
Nice.
for the upcoming markets. And
Do you have a website?
Yeah, we do. LagunaBohemia.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Awesome.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of why I was so excited to like
Yeah.
come on this and like collab with you guys because
Yeah.
you know, going forward into the new year, I remember one of the questions that you sent me was, you know, did you have any collaborations in the beginning and like, you know, how did that grow your business?
Yeah.
And I think like I did in the beginning. I was collaborating with like kind of just friends and like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to be super intentional with who I collaborate with. And
That's
like,
great.
and like, cause I think that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So when you DM'd me, I was like, oh yeah, this is like, this is exactly how I want to start the new year. Is just collaborating with.
I'm glad we
with you.
got a chance to like hear your story and share it too, because I think
Yeah.
it could be a great inspiration for a lot of people and people that feel creative or maybe don't know what they want to do or are feeling a little bit lost. Just to hear your story is just so
Totally.
great.
Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you for giving me the space to do so.
Of course.
Making me feel safe.
Yeah.
I was nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But I feel good. I felt comfortable and you guys are great.
That's
That's
good.
awesome.
I'm
Thank
glad.
you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Let me know when you want me back.
Whenever.
Is that good?
That was fun.
That was amazing. Yeah.